I often get asked how you go about plating desserts. So today I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks. We're going to make a simple and delicious raspberry chocolate brownie to be the focus of our dessert. And then I'm going to show you 3 different ways to plate it. Hi, I'm Taryn. Welcome to my kitchen studio. This is where I like to have fun with food and share tips and tricks to make your food not only taste delicious, but look great too. Today is all about plating desserts and taking your delicious desserts to the next level. We're going to make a delicious, gooey raspberry and chocolate brownie, and then we're going to explore different ways to plate and present these. There aren't any plating rules as such, but thinking about texture, shape, colour will make a difference to the end product. Not only will it taste delicious, but it will look fantastic too. If this is the kind of thing you're into, don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Let's get this brownie into the oven. These are the ingredients we need. Got our chocolate. This is a mixture of chocolate chips and a better quality chocolate. This is a Whittaker's 50% chocolate. So that's making it slightly cheaper, yet not compromising on the flavour. Then I've got some butter, eggs, brown sugar, flour, and this is some cocoa. This is a Dutch cocoa. It's got a lovely deep flavour and a beautiful brown colour. We've got some baking powder and raspberries. You can use fresh or frozen raspberries, just whatever you can lay your hands on. We'll just prepare our tin. So I've got just a rice bran oil spray here. Just going to give it a light spray. Push that baking paper into the corners there. Then we need to melt our chocolate and butter. You can either do this in a small saucepan on the stove, just on a low heat until it's all melted, or pop the two together and put it into the microwave for a few minutes until it's completely melted. I'm going to put mine in the microwave. And there's our chocolate and butter all melted. Just give it a little stir around and we'll just put it to the side while we do the next bit. Now we're going to give our eggs and sugar a little whisk together. Just pop the sugar in here. Just give it a little whisk around, just wanting to combine the sugar and egg. Break up those lumps of sugar. And then we can add in the chocolate and butter mixture. Just going to pour it in slowly while whisking it. Don't worry about those little unmelted bits, they all melt in the oven anyway. And now we're ready to add our dry ingredients. Just going to put the flour on, and the cocoa, and the baking powder. Then we're just going to fold this all together. And that's our basic brownie done. I've chosen to add raspberries to mine today, but the options are endless. Raspberries and white chocolate or blueberries also make a delicious brownie, or just add a whole lot of different chocolate chunks to it and have chocolate lovers galore. Whatever you like, this is the base and you can add to it. I'm going to put the raspberries on top once I've put my brownie mixture into my prepared tin. I'm just going to pour this into the tin. And these raspberries were frozen, but they've defrosted a little, so I'm just going to use a spoon to pull them out so we don't get all that liquid in there. Now we're ready to put our brownie into the oven. I've got my oven preheated to about 160 degrees, so not a very hot oven. And this shouldn't take near as long as most brownie recipes say. If you're cooking this for 45 minutes to an hour, you're going to end up with something so dry it'll be almost like cake. We're just wanting it to be slightly wobbly in the center, and then you know you're going to get a beautiful gooey chocolate brownie. Here's our brownie straight from the oven. It's got a slight wobble there in the middle, beautiful shiny edges. I think it's absolutely perfect. Just going to leave it to cool completely through to room temperature, and then it'll be ready to chill and cut. I've just taken our brownie out of the fridge and it's now ready to cut and plate. The first thing we need to think about when we come to cutting our brownie is what plate we'd like to present it on. We probably wouldn't want to use this dark black plate because the dark brownie on the dark plate wouldn't stand out very well. We could use this white plate. The dark brownie on the white plate will look fantastic. Then we need to think about the shape of the brownie. Generally, if we're using a square plate, we would use a different shape for the brownie. So we can use a heart cutter or a triangle or a circle, something different. These two plates will also work, and I'll show you some different shapes we can use and how to plate them. When we come to cutting our brownie, we need to make sure that we're cleaning the blade of the knife between each cut. Otherwise that gooey bit that ends up on the knife is going to end up sitting on top of our cut piece. If I was serving this to my family, I wouldn't bother with cutting off the edges because the more the better. But if I was doing it for a dinner party, then I'm going more for the looks, and to have a nice cut edge on each side looks great. So I'm going to start with just cutting off this edge here to square it up. And I'll clean my knife. To start with, I'll cut a square and some triangles. And then we'll cut a heart shape. So we've got our brownie shapes all cut and ready to plate. I've had a wee look through my fridge to see what I've got that we can use to garnish our dessert with. So I've got some whipped cream, some raspberry coulis. I'll leave a link in the description to another video on how to make coulis. Then I've got some cherries, fresh blueberries, pomegranate seeds, mint tips, raspberry powder, and I also found some meringues and some chocolate curls. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see how to do some more advanced chocolate work, like the curls I've got here. So I'm going to show you 3 different ways to plate the same brownie and using these garnishes. I'm going to start with some raspberry coulis on the bottom of my plate. I'm going to use the round white plate and the square brownie. So I'm just going to pick up a little spoonful of sauce and I'm just going to spin it around in a bit of a circle there. And I wouldn't even worry about that little dot, it just adds to the whole look of the plate. Put the brownie there. I'm going to put a little cream quenelle on top of the brownie. I've warmed my spoon under some running warm water, and then I'm simply just going to pop it in the cream and fold it around and put it on top of the brownie like that. Notice how I've put it on the diagonal just to add another dimension. You could also add a ball of ice cream on top of this if that's what you're using for your dessert. I'm going to now put on a little mint tip. So when you're using a mint tip, usually all you want is that tiny little bit in the middle, not this big colossal thing, just a tiny little sprig from the middle. Just going to put that there. And then we want to just add a bit of texture. So we've got our smooth sauce, our gooey brownie, nice soft cream, then some pomegranate seeds. That'll just add a little bit of crunch to the dish. It's not necessary, but you can do it if you've got it. So here's one simple plating idea, just using everyday things from your kitchen. Next we'll plate up the triangle brownie. So I've got this oblong plate and we're going to start with the coulis again. Just going to put a blob of coulis here. And then we can use a paintbrush or the back of a spoon or something just to create some texture and run it through our sauce. Just going to brush that across the plate. This time I'm going to stand the brownie up. That'll give us a bit of height to our finished dish. And another cream quenelle. This needs some fruit. I'll add some cherries, blueberries and pomegranate. Now I'm going to add a chocolate curl for height. Doesn't that add a wow factor? And lastly, a mint tip to add some green. Wouldn't you love serving that to some guests? And lastly, we're going to use our heart-shaped brownie on a square white plate. Just going to put it there. And then I'm going to use the raspberry coulis and just dot it up here in a bit of an imaginary diagonal line. I'm going to add a little bit of meringue to give this some crunch and some texture. Just going to chop it up into some smaller wee bits. And then I'm going to dot our berries and pomegranate seeds following that same sort of line. Then we'll add a little bit of raspberry powder. This looks great and it's such a vibrant red colour and it tastes great too, so I'm adding it more for the taste than for the looks this time. Then we'll add a couple of chocolate curls. I'm thinking about which way I should place them for the best effect. And finish it with a couple of mint tips. You could even serve something up like that on Valentine's Day. So there's our chocolate brownie, plated in 3 different ways. We've talked about the shape of the plate and the shape of the brownie. Keeping them different adds a bit of interest to the dish. We've talked about the colour that makes the brownie the main focus of the dish. We've also got different textures. We've got the crunchy meringue, the crunchy pomegranate seeds, the soft gooey brownie, the smooth cream. And lastly, we've also got height in our dish, using the chocolate to create some height and give the dish a bit of interest. So that's all I've got for you today. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Let me know in the comments which of these 3 you like the best. Happy plating!